All right, Hannah Butler, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I don't know how I first knew who you were, really. I think I just saw you doing journalism work.
Well, I remember reaching out to you because you had issues with your gym and stuff.
Yes.
And I was gonna go over that, and so, but then I backed away from that.
Yeah, we ended up moving. I think I knew who you were before that because of just like articles and stuff that you're publishing, because unfortunately some of those like rallies and things that happen downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Which maybe we could talk about later on. But that's kind of, I'd seen like basically you covering some of that stuff. Right.
Oh yeah, like the Nazi stuff.
Yes. So no other way to put it, really. But maybe we can talk about that here in a bit. But yeah, that's kind of how you got on my radar, and then you did reach out, which I've been joking with people. I'm like, all right, local government like forced me out of my neighborhood, and then the state government closed me down. Like the month that I moved, but that's all right. So we'll get back on track soon. Plus, I'm doing like all my college classes online right now, which is like super convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Right, get to sit in here.
Right.
It's like I was working all morning on Chapter 6, the Constitution.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess
That sounds very interesting.
It's super interesting to me.
Yeah.
So but so you're usually the one doing the interviewing.
Yeah.
Right? Have you given a lot of interviews, like
every
podcast,
single
anything?
day.
Okay.
No, not like podcasting, but like I give interviews every single day because I mean that's how you get the sources for your articles, is just interviewing people. And I was like, I was joking with a few friends about coming on here because I was like, I do interviews every single day, and people will say to me, like please take out all of the ums and uhs and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, obviously I'll do that. Nobody wants to read an article, but they'll always say stuff about like how they'll be so nervous about being interviewed. And then I got asked to be on here, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually nervous for this.
Some people are super nervous, I think, about the video element, right? But actually, like a way larger percentage of my listeners, they're not viewers. They're listening on the like Apple Podcast and or Stitcher, Podbean. So like I get thousands of listens on those platforms. I actually get like the fewest views combined total if you looked at my videos on Facebook and YouTube. It's always about double that on the audio side. So, but like some people when they come on, they're like, no video. Audio only. It's my buddy who's a professor. He's that way. And I'm just like, dude. Really? It's just some people are like, I think it's a generational thing too.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe it's people like, how like public speaking's weird.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's like that, but like magnified.
Well, I don't know, because it's like I find that more adults are more nervous than like college students, because before I worked at the Courier, I was doing stuff with our college newspaper, and so I would ask people to interview, take photos, whatever, and they'd be like, sure, yeah, no big deal. And like even now I find that like they're less nervous about that kind of stuff, but I find more adults are like, oh my gosh, don't like make me look bad and all of this.
That's so weird.
Really
like
weird.
I guess maybe it is like public speaking, like because I remember this, like obviously like I teach at the gym.
Yeah.
I teach in the college classroom. So like, but I remember when I first taught college class, I was like, this is weird. It just like, it made me nervous. It reminded me when I defended my master's thesis to like a small crowd, but it just like was super nerve wracking. And then like really all the times I presented in college, like, just different classes when I was a graduate assistant or whatever, I would like present lectures in class sometimes. And it would, but now I'm just like, and I was always kind of comfortable real soon rather, teaching at the gym. But I think just like being on video, I remember the first podcast I did and the first video I did on the gym YouTube, which I had like 500 videos on there. I felt super weird about like doing, like putting it out there. And then like a whole lot of my friends like that don't want to like, they're like super creative, but they don't want to like create because of maybe these barriers.
Like, You mean they're afraid to create because of the like public response
sort of,
to it,
well,
or?
perceived, or just like the stigma of like having something out there permanently that, you know, might not seem perfect to you, or good enough, or just like the overall like paranoia of like, I think people don't want to be on video and they could produce some good videos.
Right.
It's like everybody has a phone, and like I did videos on my phone the other day.
Well, it's always so intimidating at first, but like, I don't know, it's a good way to track your progress. I think especially now that like social media is so saturated, like, or oversaturated, I guess, that like maybe people are probably not going to pay that much attention. You know, like, I think you make a bigger deal out of it in your head.
You got to be like a really largely established brand. And I get like hate comments sometimes on like older podcast, like an older podcast one time, or different things. I don't really care. I'm just like, well, whatever.
Right. I mean, you were first starting out, so like
because I have so much content out there now that it's just like, and I don't have really the time or energy, or like, I'm just not going to dedicate my emotions to getting wrapped up in that, right? Or arguing with somebody in the comments. I kind of, man, that's what I hated about that whole city thing that you mentioned earlier, is just like getting caught up in like a big argument, basically.
Yeah.
That is like for my own economic well-being, really, of like, hey, I own this land, like I should be able to build on here because there's a crack house across the street there. What are you doing about that? Nothing. Right. So it was just but I hated having to like do all that, to make videos, to like raise awareness, to have meetings with the mayor and stuff like that, because the progress we were getting was slow. We ultimately would have resolved it over like a 6-month period, but fortunately, like, we were just able to leverage and move. And like now with the new gym, I'm gonna do a ton of broadcasts out of there with videos for the gym. The podcast too is all gonna be under the same roof.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, is it, I don't know, just from pictures and everything I've seen, that it looks like really big. Like, it's like so much, because I've been in the old Forza.
Yeah, but it's huge. Twice the size of the old gym.
That's nice.
But like everything has its own room. So like fitness kickboxing, 20 bags, its own room, its own mat space. Then we have like 2 big mat spaces in front, kind of like what you had at the old gym, but they're kind of divided by a bag rack of like 7 bags and some boxing bags and stuff like that. And then there's a really big room for yoga, and then there's the podcast studio. Yeah. So, which while we're sitting here podcasting is getting remodeled. So that's like the last room that we boxed it in. There was like an odd little room off to the side of the building that like went to the main, and we could have kind of purposed it as a lobby, but it wouldn't allow us to do as much with the mat. So we boxed it in, and it has an exit straight in and out, a glass front door. So it's like, now it's just this huge room that has a glass front exit just only to the outside. Right. So you can't access it from the gym. So it's going to be super awesome.
That's pretty cool. Are you like, do you have to, were you able to go ahead and move in it, even though there was like, you still had remodeling and stuff?
We did the remodeling for like 5 weeks.
Oh, okay.
It's already all done.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're still touching up on a bunch of stuff though. Like, like tiny little projects. Like I had one of my guys in there working that does boxing. He was in there working yesterday and today. So
all right,
it's exciting.
That is pretty cool. I'm excited for you guys, especially after all that trouble with getting it there.
No, it's such a major relief.
And like you were saying earlier, like it kind of sucks that this is all happening after, you guys just got in there.
It is, but like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's like we just have to work in different ways right now. Right. Like providing like all digital content. That's the goal.
Well,
like,
I mean, yeah, that was what we were talking about the other day. Like, how do you try and still keep monetization? And luckily, like you said, that there are people who are already like, yeah, go ahead and just get me in another membership or whatever. Or there's some
there's people upgraded their memberships and stuff like that. Just be like, hey. And like all these people, that's like, I want to like, I don't want to voice any discontent about what's going on really, like on social media,
right?
Because people be like, because like they told the gyms to close, before they've made things stricter since, and everybody's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm super busy though, because I am. I'm just like really. This is good in certain ways. So if I were to look at positives, like allows me to basically convert all 3 of the sections I'm teaching right now to all online classes for the future in my college classes, which will free up more time ultimately. So that's great. So that gives me an opportunity to do that. Whereas, like, imagine creating an online class during the normal semester when I'm teaching 5 face-to-face classes and running the gym.
Right.
It's not a thing. Like, my boss wants it to be a thing. It's not.
Yeah.
Like, and they're just like, yeah, it's the middle of the semester, develop this online course. And I'm like, that's impossible.
No, I've seen a lot of people be really frustrated about all of this that's happening. But at the same time, like, there are positives. I mean, for one, I feel like there are a lot of people who are being really understanding right now, and so
people aren't freaking out as much too. I feel like the hysteria has died down a little bit in on the community level. Yeah,
it's like finally people are like, okay, this is what we're having to deal with right now, so that we're gonna adapt with it. And then second, I've just seen people who are like, this sucks, but I really need a break. And, or
people kind of are or were, I feel like, treating it like a snow day for a minute. They're like, it's some time off. It's like a Saturday every day type situation. I mean, I get that. I do want to, I am working though, but I want to get back to work. Like I want my regular schedule to resume. Like I can't go exercise at the same areas. That was like a major part. Like I ran 3.5 miles yesterday, but I just I want to do more than that.
No, I feel the same way. Like I was saying that there are people who are saying that I really need the break, but for me, it's not changing. Like, so the courier's finally working from home. We started doing that, I guess, officially Friday. And so Friday I was like, okay, 8:30, like this is what I'm doing, and just worked all day. And but like I'm like you, like I really like the schedule and routine to like keep me, where I need to be. Like
I don't like mixing my environments as much either.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, like for me, location is a big thing in writing. I know some people who can sit down and just write wherever, but for me, like if I don't have like the elements I need to write, it just messes up the whole process.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's weird for me to like, cause now like this is it. These are all my class stuff. Oh, we got some jiu-jitsu stuff over here too, So like every one of my activities is taking place either in the kitchen in there or here. So, and that's kind of what I've been doing is like rendering video in there while I edit text in here.
Yeah.
And record.
Well, like for me, I live in Vista, and so I have a super small apartment, and I had told my boss, I was like, I'm gonna have to, like, I need my desktop from work at my house because otherwise I need to separate my spaces. Like, so like I'll have my laptop for school and any freelance stuff I do.
You should be able to check that out, right?
What?
Your desktop, you're saying you needed it?
I needed it.
So you checked it out, right?
No, yeah, my boss was like, okay, I will come and set it up at your apartment.
Great.
And so he did that, which was awesome. He's great. Do you know Joshua Michon?
I don't think so. Does he know me?
I don't know if he knows you.
Here's a funny, like a bunch of people know who Cora and I are for whatever reason, right? And like I can't remember I have 150 college students, plus,
right?
Like all of us, like we have 200 students at the gym, and like just the churn of like students per semester or like over time. But like me and one of the assistant instructors from the gym were going to Quiznos, like Dennis and Robert. Great stop. And I just seen somebody I knew, and he's like, bro, you know everybody. And I was like, no. I don't know that guy over there. He's like this random dude just sitting, like we're like the line's like outside the city mall door, and he like sitting at the table, and I was like, I don't know that guy over there, and then that guy's like, Brian, hey, and I was like, yeah, what's up, man? I don't know who you are. It was super weird, but I didn't know who he was. Like, I still don't know who he was, but he was like talking to me about current events. Yeah. But that's another thing is like so many people see just us on social media. Like this girl that's friends with Cora that they went to took classes together in college at Tech is married to this guy that I work with. And they like connected all this in some weird way through Facebook.
That's crazy.
And now like me and that dude are like, what's up, man? Well,
it's really weird because like for even when we're not working at home, like we'll do a lot of phone interviews. So I've talked to a lot of people in the community. I just might not have met them. So it's kind of weird to me when they're like, oh, you know, I'm this person. You have talked to me several times before as a source. And I'm like, okay, like it's hard for me to register that this person that, you know, I've talked to you over the phone is just, I don't know. Yeah,
I know. That's got to be weird being like so you are technically a reporter.
Yeah.
A journalist like Peter Parker.
That's what I say, but yeah. I mean, even when I'm part-time, I'm like still doing the same amount of work as full-time. So like it, you know, how I say.
So you are still a student?
Yeah.
Undergraduate?
Yes.
What year? Like how long have you been going?
I have about a year left. I'm a junior right now.
Okay, that's cool. See, that's like I was saying, I had Billy Reeder, professor of journalism, then Stormy, graduate student. So you're an undergraduate in that same program, technically.
Am I the youngest person that you've had on?
How old are you?
I'm 20.
I don't know. I've had some people that are younger, like earlier 20s.
Okay.
I'm only 32. Is that old to you?
No.
Okay, good.
But I was just scrolling through what you had done on my Apple podcast, and I was like, I just wondered if
I have a lot of professors on for sure.
Yeah.
But like I have just a lot of different people on. I will sit down with just about anybody.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like I do a bunch of different shows, like on different topics, but like just the Life Unraveled episodes, which is what this is just like, could be anyone, anything, any topic. But then I have like more focused like history topics, like we did a history Unraveled yesterday. So
well, I mean, that's the thing about people is that they'll always surprise you. Like that's one of the biggest things I've learned in journalism. Like, you know, I'll write a few questions down when I'm about to interview someone, but that interview will never go the way I think it is because I don't know, people just surprise you.
Yeah, for sure. And like I like sitting down like with just a bunch of different demographics of people. Like I want to have more like tradespeople on the show because like I'm just like interested. Like I feel like when I see podcasts, people just have like intellectuals on. Right. But I mean, to say that somebody who is a master at their craft, at carpentry or woodworking or electrical or engineering, and I've had a couple engineers on the podcast, but you know, just like to get people from all walks of life, right? That's kind of like the overarching goal of this show, and that's super available when and where I'm at too. You know, just like Russellville, Arkansas. But we've had a bunch of cool guests, like a UFC fighter has been on the show, Bryce Mitchell. Have you heard of Bryce?
I know nothing about your world.
UFC fighting. Yeah. Well, you know, it's on ESPN and stuff. So, you know, who knows? There's who's the sports reporter? Are you familiar with any like national reporters in sports?
Like know them or?
Yeah, there's this African American guy like Steven. Anyway, he doesn't train martial arts, but he comments on the UFC now. Okay. And everybody hates him because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you. Right? They're just like, hey, you're hired. You're commenting on jiu-jitsu now. And you're like, what? Yeah. But that guy, like, he like says like the stupidest shit ever to people that know what they're talking, what he's talking about. And it's just like, oh.
Yeah, that's gotta be annoying. Well, like, I don't know, commentators are, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like everybody gets
that is a little bit of a different realm, I suppose, than like, you know, writing articles and
right,
you know, things like that. So do you do like video at all, or are you just all like basically written publication, or?
No, I really want to get into that kind of stuff too, mostly just because I feel like I need to have some skills in each specification, you know what I mean? So that way I'm more hireable, you know, I'm more experienced and skilled. So I'd really like to get into that. I just don't really know where to start, you know, but I think it could be fun. Like I love doing photography and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, there's so many cool subsets of journalism, like with photography, writing, blogging, podcasting. I mean, and that is a historian. That's kind of why I got into all this. Right. It's like trying to preserve like what I got going on right now. Yeah. And you know, with what I'm doing with my history classes, like I'm super pumped about that, because it takes so much time to like record every individual lecture for all the classes I'm teaching. But now like I have to do it, but I get to do that instead of being at my office, instead of being teaching class face to face, and just do it right here. Right. Which I joked with Jeff Woods, this guy, the other day. I was like, this is what I've been training for. All right. But I am super set up. So yeah. Well, like, talking about preserving history and stuff, I mean, that's basically what this kind of stuff is about. And it's super cool on your podcast, or like even some of the stuff that I do at the Courier, is that like some of these people are just, you know, average people. I mean, you know, they're cool people, but it's not like they're going on National Geographic or Time or something, you know. And so it's like you get to document. These hang-ups about it too, getting into stuff. That's funny. Yeah. But anyway, it's still cool that, you know, you get to document people that, you know, we all know in the community and everything. Yeah, that I've got like a laundry list. I haven't been, okay, so I had a kind of a downturn in the podcast. I've been doing several more. So like I was only doing them with like friends on the weekend and stuff. Right. While we were moving. Like, so it's like a 2-month plus period where like I did like 3 total podcasts. But ultimately getting centralized at the gym will free up more time. Having online classes next semester will free up, and I have like 3 days a week that I have carved out where I can do podcasts throughout the week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2:00 start time. And that was what I was doing before we moved, and I was cranking out like 2 or 3 a week. So, and that's roughly what I'm gonna be doing. Like, we're gonna try and do I do a music Unraveled show where I like listen to albums and stuff like that, but we're going to do these tiny desk concerts. Oh, cool. As well, right? So that's going to be really another neat component of the show. So, well, okay, let me ask you something. So, and I'm sure somebody's asked you this before, or like said something on your Facebook, but you're clearly like a really motivated guy. Like, I'll see your post every single day that'll be like, I woke up and I did a podcast and I like ran 3 miles and like I don't know, I did all of this stuff. Like, how do you like just be motivated like that? Different sources, honestly. Like I have like it, if you just picked like a topic like education, or like I have this commitment to learning for like different reasons. Like right now I have this like bigger commitment to my health. For like a variety of reasons. One, like I stopped competing like 3 years ago, and I was just like didn't really do much. And then also, so like I got out of shape, and I was just kind of like coasting, teaching my classes. I'm still learning, getting better in jiu-jitsu because I have these lifelong learning strategies going on, and getting better at martial arts and continuing to do that, and teaching and being involved and growing there. But just like getting like physically not as healthy as I should have been. Like my diet was not as good. I was not exercising because I was just like, oh yeah, I'm like this history professor and this jiu-jitsu guy, and like I work out at the gym, but I was not really working out at the gym very much. I was just like teaching class, you know? Right. Because it's like end of the day, after I've taught, like been at the university for 6 hours and had an hour drive time and I was just like wiped out, so like then I wasn't exercising, so then I just got my shit together and started getting up at 4 and started exercising from 5-ish to 6-ish, usually coming back to my house or before I go to the gym, like having extra time to like do all these things like clean up my house or like just like learn stuff. I don't know, like listen to books. Like I've done like 38 books this year.
Right.
But also like around like November, my dad had this like pretty like serious heart attack, and like my mom has a heart condition too. So I was just like, oh, I'm gonna be like super fucking healthy. It's not gonna. I'm not gonna be the statistic of that.
Right.
So, and two, like the last couple of years, just because of like I wasn't being active and stuff, like I got like horribly sick. Horribly. I probably had coronavirus last year. But I did like I had a respiratory, and they said it was bronchitis. But like I don't know if I had a really hard time with it. I was freaking out, like panic level about my breathing. Like couldn't lay down.
Right.
Oh, it was horrible. But and then like just like a lot of added stresses from the gym. Like since those have been removed, and those were things too that were keeping me from like it was just like paralyzing, honestly, because like we just like hit this way critical mass point at the old gym where like we were parking people all the way out to Parkway.
Right.
So like super stressful because it's like we were like standing room only all the time, and it was frustrating because there's like literally like, all right, we're gonna build on. They're like, no you're not. And we just like came up with all these plans and the engineers and the architects, and we're gonna do this, and they're like, no you're not. And it was like, it's just like this constant stressful back and forth and contradictions of like, hey, well then what about that building over there? They're like on Highway 64. We're across the street from Crack House. Like how about that? How about we build it just like that? And they're like, no. It was ridiculous. So it was super stressful. But now that that's gone, and like, see, if I would have been exercising at that time, I would argue now I would have handled that way better too. Like just like in terms of the amount of stress that it produced.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm just happy to be where we are and not caught up in any of that. Like this other business owner friend of mine who deals with a lot of businesses said that we have this new city planner. It's going to be like 10 times harder. Like what sense does that make?
Wait, because we have a new city planner?
A new city planner and a new that whole department, code enforcement, everything is changing right now. Which should be good, like, but they're actually saying like, oh, those guys, they weren't strict enough. Okay. We're gonna get some stricter people in there that follow our laws and ordinances more. And so like, and so there's gonna be zero leniency, zero exceptions is what the word on the street is. And like I said, that comes from a friend of mine that also owns a business that works with other businesses. And I'm just like, what sense does that make? Like I literally as a business owner, like I feel like I have no assistance, and it's weird that there is this like narrative of that, right? But it's if you're not a business that's in downtown, you're outside that narrative. So sorry.
Yeah, I have. I probably shouldn't speak about it because I'm a reporter, but so I didn't really pay attention to like this city county politics until I started working at the Courier. Like I knew about the casino and stuff, but then I just like all at once when I started back last May, I just dove right into it, and ever since then I am more and more amazed at how they handle things. I mean,
or not handle them at all.
Or not handle them at all. Thank you. So,
here's the thing. Like, that's why we have elections.
Yeah.
That's why there are term limits, and that's why those people will get voted out. Like you saw the kind of the outcome of the last election.
Oh, heck yeah.
Which, whatever, like, we'll see what happens now. But it's interesting because, well, but that's the thing. It's like, I'm just reading about this in my American history class and doing this big presentation on it about, like, that's why it's set up the way it is. Like, so we can create these factions and argue,
right,
and then honestly produce through all this bullshit and garbage that you and I are commenting on. Will produce actually the best result.
Yeah.
That's actually the theory of our whole government, is that, like, all of everything we see, even though we hate it and it stresses it out and it's anxious, and this group of Polk County majority and citizens for better, for better Polk County over here. And I'm just like, fuck all you guys. Like, but I just want what's best for the community. So let's figure out what the will of what's best for the community. Right. And, like, I don't agree really with a lot of the rhetoric about the casino being like, oh, it's morally bad.
No.
I'm like, every casino I've ever been to is a super cool place.
I know. Well, I mean, it's just the fact that, and I've talked to people who have lived here forever who are like, they have not done anything to help our economy.
Oh, I know.
So, like, to see them just be like, oh my gosh, I cannot put my own personal opinions and face aside for the good of the community. I'm just like, that's your job. That's your job, is
yeah.
make decisions that are good for everyone, for what's good for
one thing that's blowing my mind along those lines that's going on is how, you remember the fight for the cannabis dispensary. Yes. They are trying to thwart that again. So let's say it's supposed to be on the 2020 ballot to vote on again. So it was failed 50-48 for recreational last time, but it passed for medicinal.
Yeah.
So this time it's going to be up again for recreational. And the city of Russellville is charting that, right? So they're already like, hey, by the way, if this is passed on a state level, we will follow the federal law. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Because I'm just like, and they're real picky choosy on when they like to go state or federal.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, man, but like I said, the whole theory is that all this arguing will produce a better result for the most amount of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's true, because think about all the people that voice their concern and discontent on any issue that has happened in our local community in the last 2 years.
Right.
A lot of commentary.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was amazing to see people care that much. I mean, really, no matter what side they were on, it just was like, okay, we're gonna, and some of it was kind of ugly, but for the most part, like, they actually tried to get together and, make an informed decision on what they actually wanted.
Yeah.
Because I think at first a lot of people were like, oh no, just because we think it's going to be like some gas station or like some rinky-dink operation. Like, I think after a while people were finally like, okay, let's actually do something about this. And a lot of those same people voted, I mean, as we saw in the primaries or whatever, voted out all those JPs. Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy to see. It was, but that's the will of the people type stuff. It will work itself out over time.
Yeah.
I just want there to be like some less turbulent times overall, like with all the stuff going on with this virus outbreak, closing businesses. It's just going to be nice to have, some time to work on other things, but it's weird.
Yeah, it is really weird.
People keep saying unprecedented. Like for our lifetime, like there's been lots of horrible stuff that have happened, things that have happened in the past.
Well, like, I don't know. I keep going back and forth because it's so horrible for us, but like, for me and like my peers and everything, we haven't experienced something that is this bad, like I was like 3 or 4 when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
So
See, I
so
was in
for me,
8th
it's
grade.
like, you know, okay, me and everybody else that is my age is experiencing like something that is going to change the world. you know?
So you know, how bad do you think it's gonna get, right? So like, you think it's gonna get worse than the flu?
Well, I mean, I just think I believe the governor when he says it's going to peak in 6 to 8 weeks. Like, I believe
I could see that.
And then when a big sign to me, and I know I said it earlier, but was when my boss was like, okay, yeah, I'll help you set up my desktop at home. That to me was like, we are not going to come back here for a very long time. Like, I do not expect to go back to work, you know, just in a few weeks. I expect to go back to work maybe in the summer, maybe later this fall. Maybe it'll be like what do they keep comparing it to, the Spanish flu or whatever?
1918.
And so, like, I wonder if it's almost going to be like that, where like it cools down during the summer and then we have an uptick of like cases in the fall. I really don't know what's going to happen. I just know that I don't think it's going to go away in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, I hope as it does warm up that the nature of how, like, I think I was kind of looking. I want to see what the breakdown is in like drier environments on how long it survives.
I have no clue.
Like Arizona and stuff like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, well, it's like like I guess San Francisco is the area of California that's the worst, like versus like Southern California,
right?
But it's really bad in New York, but it's also really cold and wet there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't really know how weather impacts anything. I don't feel like I know that really, but
I don't know. I just heard,
we'll just
just like that basic theory of as it does warm up, its propensity to for people to catch it, I guess, gets lower. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm only a social scientist.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't speak on these.
It's okay.
But yeah. I just want to start having my classes again. I hope that we can start doing that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's like everybody's been kind of shortchanged.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and then they thwarted that like an economic relief package on the Senate on the Senate floor, I believe.
I saw that.
So yeah, but whatever. I kind of cued in to that it was possible, and I don't know about all of the inner dealings because it's still so new.
Right.
It's ongoing. That makes it very hard to keep up with. But is it kind of favored a lot of larger corporations being helped, and I'm like,
yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, it's kind of back to that's the narrative.
Yeah,
right? Like like I have this other like middle class income over here with my college employment, but with the gym, like, as being a business owner, it's just like, and then also being in that demographic of just like, imagine like I didn't even have the gym. I was just a college teacher. Like, I feel like those, like, there are two individual classes, but like I'm a part of both of them, but they're both like disenfranchised the most economically and politically in this country in comparison to other classes.
Yeah.
Like, Corey and I pay like over 30% taxes. That's insane. That's making it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we made it. Now we get to pay 30% of our income to the government. It's insane.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know what's gonna. I wish I knew, but I don't, and I don't know.
Strange times.
It is very strange.
So let's talk about this Nazi rally situation. Like, how long has that been since that happened?
Oh gosh, March of last year, I think. So
do you remember the Jewish guy speaking in the wheelchair with the neck brace?
Yes.
I grew up with that guy.
Did you really?
Yes, his name is Burl Wolfson.
Huh.
I wish I would have interviewed him before he died.
Yeah.
But there are some great interviews that exist of him that AETN did, where he tells like the whole story, right? So, but yeah, he was like the treasurer of the church that I grew up at when I was a kid. So that is interesting too. He's Jewish, but he's a Christian. So yeah, best of both worlds,
right?
You know? But yeah, that was he was in very poor health at that time.
Yeah.
From what I gather, but so there was this rally. I guess like the Messianic Jewish church here in town, and some other organizations were having like a Holocaust type memorial type, just an event, right? And it got protested by, so like what would you like, just fill me in, like I kind of know roughly what happened, but like you were there watching everything, and I wasn't. One person I knew, and I mean I saw videos and stuff, one person I knew was in an old bank having a drink and saw the you know people getting real upset and stuff. But what was it like?
What do you mean by what was it like? Just go over what?
Yeah, like what? Like how did it make you feel? Like what did you see? Like you're an eyewitness account of everything that went down at that particular event, are you not?
Yeah. Well, the thing about being a journalist is that you kind of, or like as far as what I was doing that day, was that you try and block off whatever they're saying and everything. Like, so to me, I don't even really remember what they were saying. I just was trying to like photograph the event. But they were basically standing all on, what's that store? That's right across from downtown that everybody parks at, right across from the concert venue. It's like a hardware hair store or something.
Yeah,
they were like setting up shop right up there, and basically just yelling, like holding all of these like Confederate flags and like Nazi flags. And then at one point, I do remember this, they did like tear up like I think it was like a Jewish flag or something and stomped on it, and that to me was really so awful. Like in front of them, like it was something of significance to it was awful. And then all of these people who had gathered there for the remembrance, it was like they were having an event and then they were marching, and so they were obviously giving like a really heartfelt speeches and everything. And then finally, like before the march started, they just were yelling back at the Nazis because, I mean, trying to like stop them, but you can't do that. It was an interesting day. And then the Holocaust Remembrance March started, and then I think basically the police kind of split them up, was kind of walking along, and the Nazis were walking like at a distance from them and just trying to keep distance. But of course they were yelling back and forth, like as the march was going on, they were just yelling at each other and doing all of that. So, and then actually met a guy from Reuters and a guy that freelances for like Time and stuff, that they were photographing the event too. And so I had gotten to know them like through that work, and they were there too, and we were all like documenting what was going on. Yeah. So and I know, like, as journalists, you have to kind of like turn certain things off, right? You have to kind of like compartmentalize things, like, oh, this group's got this going on, this group's got this going on. But did you feel conflicted in any way? Did it was like upsetting to you in any way, like seeing that stuff go on, being there? Like, is it like an unfortunate part of your job? Like, how did you view all of it, like on a personal level? Well, it was really hard to to deal with, because for a while I would it wouldn't even be just that event alone, but just like several of the things they would do, you know. I feel like you don't process it as it happens. That's how it worked for me anyway, is that like I would watch it all go on and I would like have it, and then it would be like kind of afterwards that I would be like, I've got to take a day like and just process this, because this is this is not right. Like, this is not something that it's different to process and deal with. I mean, it just is, because for me, who's somebody who's never, you know, witnessed something like that before, documenting that, you know, it was very different to realize that was what I was.
Did that lead you to like want to learn more about like what both sides are arguing over? Did you report further on this issue as it developed?
So my plan originally is that I was going to, okay, so this is how it all started. So Reader actually went to college with a guy named Dave Holloway, and he knew this guy named Billy Roper, who is like the leader of Shield Wall Network or whatever that's around here. And so anyway, I started looking at his work and Dave's work, and I was like, okay, like this is an issue, and like it's interesting to me that he went out of his way to document that. And so then I think it was can't remember when, but like 55 prison gang white supremacists got busted here. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was a while back ago. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, this is still happening here.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people from Atkins and Dardanelle and stuff that are
committing
into
hate
this.
crimes too.
Right. And committing these crimes and like this hatred. And so for me, I was like, well, it sucks that all of these people are like, I didn't know about this. And so that's what got me interested into it, was that I was like, okay, like I'm with, you know, I have journalist abilities. I want to try and uncover that so people know, you know, that this is really serious. And so when I got into it, I realized that these guys were just average people, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like, to me, when I thought about Nazis before, I thought of them as like, you know, I don't know, like Hitler types, you know, like somebody you would recognize, you know, somebody you would know, you just look at and you would know by their attire, like their manner, that they were a Nazi. But the thing about these guys is that they weren't. They didn't stick out to you like that. So that was really scary to me, because I thought anyone, you know, it's like anyone could be a Nazi.
Well, think about,
you know what I mean?
Yes. And think about this, like, think about like our Civil War, right?
Yeah.
So like I teach about that. Like I'm doing a lecture right now about the rise of the Klan in Arkansas during Reconstruction. And, you know, it has some shared similarities, but I was making a larger point there, but I forgot what it was going to
It's okay.
What were you saying?
Oh, well, I was basically just going to say, so my plan is that I was going to, because I had just sent him a few questions, like, over email, and then he invited me to this rally in Little Rock, so I was like, I guess I'll go, you know, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to that, and so I saw not only, you know, the Nazis, like, protests and everything, but, like, Antifa, do you know, like anti-fascist?
Yes.
You know, people.
You saw some Antifa members.
Yeah, so they were doing that as well. So my plan was.
And this was in Little Rock, you said?
Yeah. So my plan was to, like, I think they were fighting over abortion. That seems like what it was about. But they.
That's so sidebar. That's what I've been saying. Everybody talks shit about corona. They're like, coronavirus this, but abortion deaths that.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, that's everywhere
really?
In my realm. Yes.
Oh, that's
like
insane.
A bunch of people been sharing memes about that. Like conservatives, right? Which, you know, can.
Well, like, have you seen a lot of conservative? I mean, I don't know how much are in your world, but like I keep seeing conservatives be like, this is the end of times. Like,
oh yeah. You know, they like. Here's what I like to point out about that argument. Think about this. Think about all the wars in the Middle East that have really been justified by Christian congregations based off the idea of this is the prophecy.
Yeah.
Like, are you freaking kidding me? Get out of the Middle East. Like,
exactly.
it's insane. Like, it's very disturbing to me. You know, as a historian, I was talking to somebody on the podcast the other day about this. I might cut my teeth on that topic. Like, this that's going on right now is going to be the next Vietnam War.
Really?
Yeah. Like, in terms of, like, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. Like, we're going to. And, like, there's been more people that have died. It's lasted longer. But in the same way that I felt like there was this big delay or this big sweeping under the rug culture of that conflict, because it brought with it a lot of embarrassment.
Yeah.
And I think that what we're going to find out about the wars in the Middle East the last 20 years is going to be very disheartening when that enters the consciousness of our society.
Yeah.
It's just going to be another cross to bear in terms of like guilt about things that we've done, all like from civil rights of African Americans, disenfranchisement of women, Native Americans, the list goes on.
Well, right. And like you've seen already, people who have been, I guess, quote unquote, joking about how like they'll never get the coronavirus and like they're fit and healthy, so they're not going to get it. And then they get it.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And so then it's like, it's like, no offense, but joke's on you, because you've literally sat there and said, you know, I'm just going to operate normally. And then look at how many people you've infected.
That's why I did and we're going to have to say close down. I'm not trying not to be hardcore about it, but something's got to give at some point in time. For me being a business owner, it sucks.
Right.
Like, I get to still make income over here, but people eventually will start canceling their memberships because it's a service that they're not receiving.
Yeah.
So that's why we're really up in what we're doing with online stuff. But yeah.
Right, like hopefully you can give them, you know, something, you know.
Which we will.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that just from what I've already seen, you know. Yeah,
I think Cora, she left right before you got here. That's what she's going to work on some stuff. We got a lot of stuff that we're working on this week, just like doing logistics of trying not to just jump the gun and start just throwing stuff out there, but like getting a good structure in place and developing a good plan of communicating with people and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, then like we were saying earlier, just being understanding. But I mean, yeah, for like you guys and just other people that offer a service, like I know, you know, there are plenty of businesses here that offer a service that aren't necessarily like restaurants and stuff that you can just still pick up and, you know, get curbside delivery of your jiu-jitsu membership, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, how do you, so I don't know, I'm really concerned about how this is going to impact us economically. And then not only that, but like with nonprofits, like I just did a story about something like that, and like I was talking to Fred Teague at Respus, and he was like, if there is like any part of you that feels like you need to give, like now is the time to do so, because all of us are just going to be hit. And all I could think about was like, okay, you know, there are people out there that are obviously losing their jobs. They're going to either maybe be able to file for unemployment, or maybe not. And then they're going to come to these places like Respus or Help Network or Manna House, Mainstream Mission. And those services, which are already not going to be properly funded in the first place, are going to see an influx of people who need help with rent, housing, or rent, same thing, but rent and food. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
So I mean, where does it end? You know what I mean? Just where does it end?
It's never a good time for this type of thing, but it's been a weird time.
Yes, it's been so weird. I don't know. We're all just trying to adjust and do the best we can. I don't know that there's anything else we can do. But then, you know, I still see people who I literally, just before I got here, I got on one of my social media pages, and this girl was like, I'm not trying to, I guess I am kind of judging her, but she was like, I'm at quarantine or whatever, and she was out at Front Street, and I was like, come on, like that's not Please.
It's not what we're doing here, lady.
Please, you need to be right now.
Like, oh man, so the other day, like, this is like last week, but I was like, I'm gonna go to Lowe's real quick, and then I get there, and like, I just like something small, like I had like literally what I was buying, I held in one hand. It was like some clips for my heavy bags and stuff, but their registers were like, their computer systems are down.
Yeah.
So like they were taking all the orders by hand, and I was just like, oh my gosh. I'm just like, I got to get out of here, because it was like lines are just like backing up, and I'm like, this is not what we're supposed to be doing, people. I can't believe I came here.
Right.
But yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's gonna pass. I think what I think will happen, and I think is a fair compromise.
Okay.
I would say this. I would say if the governor came out today and was like, everybody stay quarantined for 14 days and then we'll resume normal activities. I think that is, or everybody stay quarantined till April 17th and we're going to, because if we can do that, the thing that's pissing me off is that there's still shit going on like at Lowe's.
Right.
And that's going to make us stay closed for longer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if they ultimately are going to order that, it should already happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It really should have. We
Yeah.
have 165 cases. Let's see if it's been updated.
Yeah. It probably. I mean, I don't know. I kind of think it's going to take longer than 14 days. I mean.
Oh, wait, that's a Founding Fathers quote.
Okay.
I always have it like right up on my phone, but I was also doing research earlier.
A Founding Fathers quote? You've always got that on your phone?
Well, no, I always have the Healthy Arkansas link on my, like right there up on my Safari.
Oh, okay.
Which has like we're at 168, so we only went up 3 cases since yesterday. That's good. It jumped like 60 something cases yesterday.
Yeah, I know. I was amazed. But I mean, I half expected that to happen because, it takes a while for those results to get back.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, apparently they tested a lot over the weekend, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think they did like 500 tests over the weekend. So, yeah.
It's just insane. And then, like, I don't know. I feel like it's different for. I don't know. There's 2 ways that I think adults and people my age look at it. And I guess I'm technically an adult. I just don't consider myself like as a.
I'm not either. It's cool.
Adult.
Anyway, that's why I was like, "Hey, do you think I'm old?"
No.
Right, because I'm still trying to cling to that younger demographic, but like I'm like going to be 40 in like 7 years, so it sucks.
Well, it's like weird because you never think you're the age you're at. I feel like I've talked to older people and they're like, I still like, or even my parents, they're on in their 50s, I guess, and they're like, we still feel like we're 20 or 30, like, it's not like things have changed, it's just my back hurts, or something.
My back does hurt.
Sorry. But
okay.
Anyway, my point was that, some adults, like middle-aged people, are like, I'm not going to cancel my spring break trip for that. And then some of my peers are the same way. They're like, I'm gonna lose $500-$1,000 if I don't go to
Did you see
right now.
that Florida city council arguing video?
No.
It went viral.
No, I haven't seen
No,
it.
they were like shouting match about
Really?
like, we should have closed the beach last week. But yeah, I mean,
I'm sure you saw that same video about all of those people packed in there at their beach.
and that's going to force my business to stay closed longer. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately. So it's like, I just wish that we would act, because it's going to take I think a federal order of like, we're going to do a 14-day quarantine starting now. And then
America's not ready for that. I was listening to, I love The Daily by the New York Times. I don't know if you listen to that, but it's like, they're like a lot of news organizations right now just covering the pandemic, but even before like the hysteria and everything, they were talking about, can the U.S. handle something like, because, in China, they're used to that, order and responsibility, and we are so not.
Yeah.
And
see, they've already done it in certain places, but it doesn't matter that they're doing it there because it's not being done elsewhere.
Right.
That's what I see.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I get it. And like, I know those people like in New York and San Francisco, like they seem to be responding somewhat well. Like, I know some people that live in New York that I've seen posting and otherwise, and I've seen people taking it different ways.
Yeah.
But universally, I don't see nobody I know is just universally just like freaking the F out about it.
But I mean, I just think about, I grew up in Southwest Arkansas, and I
Where at?
Hope.
Oh, okay.
So Bill Clinton and watermelons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, which of course several places in Arkansas are like, oh, we have the Bill Clinton,
Boyhood
whatever.
home.
Yeah, boyhood at home, which is the exact same thing we have. But anyway, I've got a lot of friends on that are just, I know if that happens here, they're just going to be like, oh, government can't keep me, and they're gonna be so
like, here's how I feel about it. It's like, government can't keep me closed for an undisclosed amount of time.
Yeah.
So that's why I just want an order to be handed down, because it's like all these things are still happening that are gonna cause the spread and hysteria to increase.
Yeah.
But it's like, I've been closed down the whole few days.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, I'm totally with you. I just know
weird.
that there are people who are not going to comply, which is so disheartening.
We got to enact martial law and shoot those people in the streets. Okay, this is a dim conspiracy.
Yep.
All right, that's what have you heard that? I've heard that from several people. This is a Democratic conspiracy. They're going to enact martial law. They're going to be mass arrests. And then I've heard that that's a Trump conspiracy. And I'm just like, look, the cops want nothing to do with us, and the National Guard are like holding, like, got little tents set up, their little like canopies set up, like helping check people in and out.
I try not to indulge in that stuff too much, because
me either,
because I feel like the more I see it, the more I'm disappointed in the United States. And so as a whole, I just get so disappointed in people every single day.
Yeah.
Like how, like there was this one that I saw that was like, you guys know that it hasn't even affected kids yet, and like, why aren't you? And I was like, okay, so it's gonna affect kids, so you can care. Like, they were like, oh, it's just such a mass conspiracy to take away from the election, and
I've heard that. I've heard a whole bunch.
It's all politics. Like, how?
It's whatever. We'll get back to normal eventually.
Yeah.
That's all we can say.
Yeah.
So, and we should, like, I guess, all learn from this and prepare better for the future after this, and whatever. Just kind of take it in stride and be productive right now. Like, that's like, I still got up super early this morning. I fell asleep like super early last night, like freaking like 6:30.
Wow.
I get up at 4, so like my sleeping pattern gets weird. I didn't take a nap yesterday, and I ran like 3.5 miles like later in the day. So I just crashed super hard.
Well, like, what time do you go to sleep normally? Because if you're getting up at 4,
like 9ish, 9 to 10. That's a pretty common, like, and I get enough sleep, and I usually sleep all the way through the night. But that's like, my schedule is just irregular right now, and it's like I'm trying to cling to this like healthier routine that I'd built. So.
Yeah. Well, it's actually kind of weird for me now that school is online. Like, it actually makes a better routine for me. Weirdly, like, it, because I like it when I'm on break and stuff, because I can just go, work 9 to 5, do whatever. But like with school, I had class at like 9, and then I had a break for like an hour, and then I had to go back at like 11 or noon. And so for me, it was like so weird, and I felt like I was running around all the time. So like, at least now I can go 10 to 5, and then afterwards I can just I can work online and stuff. But for you and stuff, like, it's so much different.
Well, that was like, I will say, like, I really appreciate the current structure of my day, not like in this pandemic issue, but like, so like everybody when I started teaching was like, how are you possibly gonna do that? And I was just like, you just watch. But it's like, honestly, like 6 hours a day, I'm like really focused instead of like running around like what you're talking about.
Right.
So like that 6 hours, I would normally just be like, oh, I woke up, I taught morning class. And then I came home, watched some documentaries, made some Facebook posts.
Yeah.
Watched some jiu-jitsu videos, went back, taught noon class, came home, took a nap, went to the teach evening class, taught evening class, came home, watched more documentaries.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a routine I was in for like 5 years probably. Like at least 4 years after I got out of graduate school. That's just like the routine. But when I started teaching, it was good because like at least 3 hours a day in my office, I'm like super productive.
Right.
Creating content.
Yeah.
So that's it really made things better for me. And then I teach 3 hours a day, and then I would go to the gym in the evenings. And now I started getting up earlier. I actually do take a nap, like about an hour a day usually, but it's like a literal power nap. Sometimes it's only 20 minutes. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, was it, I wanted to ask you if it was hard, like going from grad school to like being a student to a teacher, or did you like plan to end up getting into academia?
Yeah, that was always my goal. I just kind of totally lucked out and work like I have a full-time position with a master's degree. That's nice. Which is for a historian is not super common. Yeah. I didn't want to teach high school. I wanted to do something else, so I started adjuncting, and it just turned into a full-time gig. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of like it was always my plan. It worked out exactly the way I wanted.
That's nice.
So, and that is like it's not very common for that to happen. I'm pretty fortunate in that regard. So, we'll see where that goes. Yeah. I'm trying to. Do you know who Neil Harrington is? Yes. So he's been on my podcast. But so the Arkansas Encyclopedia of History wants an article done on Neil Harrington. So I'm going to be trying to be the guy that writes that article. Oh, cool. So, but there's things that like I want to do as a historian that I haven't done that I'm going to do for sure. And I'm going to start with writing a series of articles. One for the encyclopedia. I want to do one for the Arkansas Historical Quarterly. So, that's like in this time off, like that's the sort of stuff that I'm going to be trying to do to be productive as a historian and researcher, and really just database my content. I'm going to wipe my personal YouTube and make that like my history class YouTube. So, yeah.
That's really neat. I like seeing professors or people like do more, because like there are a lot of.
I probably put too much stuff in Blackboard. I'm like, you guys gotta watch this. Over here, Andrew Jackson, Good to Evil and Presidency, PBS. And they're just like, PBS? What? Like Channel 13? Like free TV? I'm like, yeah, it's super good, guys. Like, this is gold standard for Andrew Jackson documentaries. And they're just like, whatever, dude.
Well, I mean, it's like so much nicer to see professors who are really into what they do, because it just so makes a difference. Yeah,
that is the difference. Yeah. Like I was like typing up some super boring shit about the Constitution, and I was like, this won't be boring when I talk about it. Yeah, because I will spice it up, like, and two, because it's like I'm gonna tell it in a way that I want to understand it. Right. If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
It's ultimately the way I understand it, but it doesn't have to be the way it was given to me. Yeah. Like verbatim. Right. Is what I'm saying. So like that's where that's the kind of the cool part about like. But really, honestly, like other professors I know filming videos right now, that's their hang up. They're like, like there's nobody there watching me. Like, where's my audience? I'm like, they're gonna see it. Yeah. It's the same, but they're not there. Like, it's super. Like, I just talk to the camera, and I'm like, yes.
Well, I mean, I honestly feel right now, I feel more bad for professors right now than students, because by now a lot of us have taken online classes, so I already know how to do that. But like, a lot of professors are just used to that lecture only, in person
Imagine
only.
every professor who's retiring this year. There's some of those at Tech, right? And then too, there's a like I have all of his PowerPoints on this flash drive right here. Dr. DeBlack, who retired from Tech, he gave me all of his PowerPoints the other day, but he's teaching a Civil War class. He's retired from Tech last year, but he's teaching a Civil War class face to face at a college in Conway. And then it got shut down, converted to all online. He's just like, like, this is not what I signed up for.
I mean,
because he's like, that's like it was probably very rewarding to him to still get to stand up and speak to people about it. And I know that's one, that I didn't want to teach online because I wanted to gain that experience of doing that, of talking to people face to face. Like even what I was saying to you, like the very beginning, it was nerve wracking for me. And like now I feel super comfortable. It's like after 5 years of doing that, I think I will, by that time I will probably be converted. Like I think we're moving in a direction where education is going to be like 90% online.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I was thinking about that too. I was like, I'll bet, which I was a little more optimistic than you just because I like in-person stuff and not doing things online. But I was like, I'll bet in 10 or 20 years this is what it's all going to be.
Yeah. And that's how I'm trying to adjust my mindset to act accordingly to that and database my content in a way moving forward, starting with where I'm at right now. It's like I'm trying to not just hastily, like I was like working all this week, getting up to normal time, just trying to get all that stuff together.
I mean, yeah, and then like with my job and everything, like I've had I expect my career sometime in my lifetime to just go online, because especially with how newspapers have been shut down, especially here in the past, like I mean,
see, I think it will get creatively more digital. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder if it's warming up outside.
I don't know.
Is it supposed to get sunshiny today?
I really don't. I just saw it was going to be 50. I don't know if it's going to... I think it's supposed to warm up at the end of the week. But I guess it doesn't matter because I'll be in my apartment that week.
I've been going in. I filmed a bunch of videos at the gym a couple of days ago. Corey and I are doing a live tonight for our students. We're going to do some Zoom stuff. So... we're just rolling with the punches.
That'll be cool.
No pun intended.
Hey, what does it feel like to get punched in the face? Because I was like, I've never been punched in the face. What does that feel like?
There's levels to it. Okay. Man. So, one, it's not as bad as you think. Okay. If you've never been punched in the face. There's levels to it, and that like you get punched in the face, like you get hit in the nose, your eyes can get watery, so that sucks. So like I've never been hit in the nose very much, so I've been fortunate in that regard. You get hit in the jaw, that can rattle your nerves, like right here. If your jaw pushes in, it'll do it, or if it gets hit sideways, it'll do it. That's like rolling with the punch would be as you were getting hit, going with it. Right. So like that phrase I just said a second ago. Yeah. But if you're like super braced when you get hit and it turns your jaw sideways, but you don't roll with the punch, and it could, let's say it doesn't knock you out, right? It can feel devastating if that happens. Also, if you get hit here or behind the ear, that's like more of a shot against your brain. Now, most of the time, that's not going to be, in the short term at least, that's not going to be bad. But if you get hit really, really, really hard there, which should not happen in the gym, it should only happen if you're fighting. Or maybe training for a fight, depending on how hard you were training, or if an accident happened. And accidents do happen too, so that's why. But it's like when you're just in the gym training, that shouldn't really occur. Like you shouldn't be going that hard, because long term, the brain damage results are not good. So, we weren't designed to get just hit in the head all the time. Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, how did you get into that world anyway? Like, because, I mean...
I kind of was just interested in it, and I started training, and then the gym I was training at closed down, and then I kind of got into doing what I'm doing now. Like long or the short of it. So, but I didn't start doing it until I was 19. So that's another thing. So all of this has come about in the last 13, 14 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It just is really interesting to me.
It is. It's interesting. I think it's something that's interesting for Russellville to have because we're different than any other gym that's around here.
Right.
For sure. With what we offer with the group fitness and yoga, and now we're have like hot yoga, and it's gonna be a real bangarang time.
Okay. What is the difference between? I keep seeing like people go into like hot yoga classes, but I don't know what the difference is.
It's just hot as fuck, I guess. I don't know. Like, I think it's just super hot.
Is this really steamy
like
or something?
90 something degrees.
Okay.
They crank the thermostat way up, and like, you know, it's kind of like you can work up a sweat in yoga anyway, like in a controlled temperature environment. Like to say, it's like, let's say you had it. I think we usually keep the gym at like 70-ish degrees or something, like 70, I think. So, but you can work up a sweat doing yoga then. So, with hot yoga, it's just like basically kind of cleanses your body too. So, but we got a good floor for that. We're also going to have Zumba classes in that room. Zumba. So, nice. Our Zumba instructor is like, it's my buddy Colby. It's his sister. She teaches at St. Mary's, but she's a rock star. So
that's really interesting. I don't know. It's just like when I was thinking about your gym and everything, I mean, I thought the same thing. Like this, it is really unique for our area to have because, you know, there's plenty of CrossFit places and like regular gyms, but I mean,
there's a CrossFit place that rented our previous gym. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, yeah, that is a very growing group fitness. And I think it's great. I just tell people, like, some people will not go work out by themselves. Like, and honestly, I tell everybody, I'm like, what's got me going to the gym more than anything? Like yesterday when I ran, I was listening to Godfather, right? Audiobooks, right? Like, but I was just like, the whole time I was running, I was listening to Godfather, and it was much more enjoyable. I was like, 3 laps, not that big of a deal. But if I was doing that with nothing, or even with just music, because music, like, I like listening to music a lot, but it's not something I like doing while I'm exercising. It's almost just like, it's not stimulating for me while I'm exercising. I actually like listening to music when I clean the house. Yeah. So I don't know why, but like when I notice when I listen to music, I want to get up and like do things around the house, but I don't want to exercise when I listen to music. It's like, I'm just like, I've heard this song. It's weird.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is how it goes for you, but I mean, if you've exercised so much that you only have that one gym workout playlist, you know what I mean? Like that could probably get old pretty soon, and you're just like,
that's like the books are so good. Like I know that's not for everybody, but for me, like I've read a lot since I've been on this downtime. I read a lot today, but I'm never one to like, I'll tell you exactly what I do. I'm like, I got all this info on the XYZ affair. Let's see what this book says about it. And I just like, I don't read that whole book though. That whole chapter even really at one sitting. It's like I pull from it as I kind of want to know more. But like with these audiobooks, I listen to whole books. I listen like some really good books lately. So I want to start a Books Unraveled site, like a sideshow podcast, right?
That'd be pretty cool.
Right, my friend Thurman, he's gonna, and his sister Julie, they've been on the podcast. They're gonna do an Arkansas Unraveled podcast.
That's cool.
I hope that Reader, he's not gonna do anything for my channel, but he's gonna use the studio during the day. I told him, I'm like, dude, anytime you want to record, I'll be at the university 6 hours a day. Like, go in and use it. And then on the weekends, like that's with like this Arkansas show, it's going to be more, I think, documentary style. With like some sit down, like that's like what that other table with the whiskey barrel is going to be good for. So
that'll be really cool. I mean, it's a really neat thing. And then I don't know, do you know anybody else around here that really does podcasts? I don't think I know of really anybody.
A couple of people. I mean, technically, that River Valley Now with the Sass and the Beard thing is technically, I guess, a podcast or something, right? I don't know.
I don't really know what that is.
But I've had Nathan on the show before. I was like, he comments on a lot of the things I post, and he's I would consider him a friend, but I'm like, he does like say like everything, like anything that he comments on is like kind of like a politician. He's like, well, I agree with you, let's look at the deeper complexities of this issue in relation to my point of view on this. Like every time he replies, but that's not the only interactions we have too.
Right,
like,
right.
I mean, it's definitely not, but like, it seems like in the Facebook comments that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But I like Nathan a lot.
No, I do too. He's really nice.
I think that he has he personally has the best, I think, for individuals at heart.
Yeah.
And has like everybody opinions on community.
Mm-hmm.
And those aren't always the same. Like, I know, like, we were kind of like, I was pissed off about the dog park thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was commenting on that. And I'm just like, get out of here. Get out. Go and get out this comment.
Yeah.
Right. But that's just, you know, like, sometimes I do, like, I feel like a social and civic responsibility to provide commentary on things. And that's what this podcast is partially about.
Mm-hmm.
People watch. And it's weird. I do know a lot of people. So it's like, I can't talk to everybody, but the podcast,
Right.
I can get the word out, like, about whatever it is that's going on. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting for sure. I had just seen, you had just shared the thing about tech not
and then they came back and did it.
And then they came back and did
I didn't have anything to do with that. I'm sure a bunch of people were pissed.
Oh, heck yeah. I had a bunch of
But
people.
yeah, I did. I was happy that they made that decision.
Yeah. Well, I think they should have done it in the first place. But, you know.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, there's a whole bunch of technicalities to the plan they came up with.
Yeah, I did see that too.
There's a whole bunch of fine print on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Credits, and you got to get your paperwork in by here, and case by case basis. And,
exactly.
Yeah. And if you don't do it by this date, you lose that.
Well, and I mean, like somebody was saying, you know, they're underfunded, and I get that, I do, but it's you know, these students have already paid.
Yeah, underfunded. You know? Yeah, but here's the thing: they're for profit institution.
Exactly.
And everybody pays out the ass for tuition. They're like, I accrued over $50,000 of debt, right, to get my master's degree, of which I'm paying back very quickly. Mm-hmm. But they got all that money from me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they got that from how many people over. And it's like, I think that anybody talking about their funding, like, not saying you, but it's like, okay. I keep hearing that, and I'm just like, funding. Yes, they get given additional funds after they rape people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, cost per credit hour has only gone up every year since I've been out of college. Right. And it went up every year but one that I was in college. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not a sustainable model. That's why it's now a narrative about student loan forgiveness, all this stuff, because it's too expensive. Even Arkansas Tech University, yes. But it's the third largest institution in the state. But right. But it's like the conversion to job ratio is not working out.
Well, and I guess the fact is too is that they've been underfunded for years on years and years, so they should be used to it. Yeah. By now.
Well, you know they should stop building 100 different projects on campus.
Well, I mean,
not sustainable model. Like I believe when I got my master's degree, there was an insane amount of building projects going on. They were tearing down Wilson Hall, like all these things were going on. But it just that's not sustainable either. Like.
Yeah. Well, what they've done recently, which you might know about some of this, but they've, you know, torn down some residence halls, and they have this master plan that will eventually get more residence halls in the future, but not right now. So what they're doing is, you know, having double rooms, you know, for two people serve as a 3-4 person room, which is insane. Like, you can't do that for these students who are paying all this money. And it
just seems like the highest priorities should be like lodging, parking, like technology, accessibility for students, and then like the top quality professors. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't get what I mean. I think that the tuition all these students are paying should be able to cover everything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, just tuition and fees alone. Yes. Should be able to cover everything. Mm-hmm. Like, state funding or no, like, you know, everybody has to pay to go there for the most part. So It's, if it were a private institution, I would say some different things, but
Yeah,
like U of O or something.
Yeah,
like I get that more. Or and like if it was the like U of A, largest university in the state, I could get that a little bit too.
But I mean, I don't know. They've attracted some not great PR.
Well, yeah, at least they did kind of come back. But it's like damage done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I mean, like you said, it's still not.
I remember
you want it to be.
A while back I shared some meme, and I didn't even make the meme, somebody else did, but it was like the guy was like shooting somebody in the background. It was like Russellville progress, and he's like, why would the casino do this or something? Like, it was something super funny like that, but it got like hundreds of shares.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Like, because like people at work that I wasn't friends with on Facebook were like, bro, I saw that post you made and it was hilarious. I'm like, we're not even friends. What are you talking about? Like, it was like my boss's secretary said that. And I was like, oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't make that.
Yeah, I think I saw that too.
It was super funny, but it went viral. So I don't know. I wish my podcast would go viral like that. Come on.
What's it feel to be like a local celebrity, Brian?
It's just like I had, like all things I had going on at that time. I just hated that it had to be controversial.
Yeah.
You know, like Corey and I literally are like trying to like provide a good for the community and don't want to get embroiled in nonsense.
Yeah. So. No, I mean it's fair. You shouldn't, you know. But I mean, also you can't help what goes viral either.
Yeah.
You know, at least it wasn't, I don't know, anything worse. You know, or like relevant. You know, it was relevant to then. Because that was when all that casino stuff was going down. Like it would change every day. I remember.
Yeah. Why would it do this? Like that's a super funny meme. Anyway, meme culture.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It can be used to influence everything too. It really can.
Yeah, it can. I hate it, and I don't know. It's a good thing and bad thing. I don't know. I like that people are able to share that stuff and, you know, can be funny and stuff, but when
it's a Pandora's box.
Serious,
it's
or
a
like
Pandora's box,
or like when people look at it and are like, these are the facts about this and this. I'm like, I just
maybe, like, you know, yeah. Everybody, it is it's like a cesspool of people's opinions. Yeah. Right, like
it really is.
It's like there's some really good stuff in there, right? That's another thing. It's like with all things. It's like, is there enough good to justify the existence? Like I was talking with a professor friend of mine about the dark web, and like it's created by the United States Navy. It's taxpayer subsidized, so you and I pay for it. But yet there's human sex trafficking and child pornography on there. Right, but we pay for that. But it's for the security of our blah blah blah, and there's this and that, and it's like good, and this is maybe better than all that bad. And like how many justifications we make like that in everything.
Yeah, I mean it's so hard because you know, it's like it doesn't even matter if it's good or bad. Like it's about freedom of sharing. You know, like it's like
and that's the Pandora's box. Is we were already given the platform. Yeah. Now you can't start limiting it and taking it away.
Exactly. Well, like that's kind of what a lot of what tech dealt with when the Nazis were coming on campus. Do you remember that? Yeah, and so the thing is that it doesn't matter if you don't like it or not. They have a right to come on the campus. Yeah. Which is, you know, we all hate that, but there's nothing you can do. So, I mean, it's like the same thing for the internet. Like, you know, you hate what your high school teacher is saying. We should have been ahead of cyber law 10 years ago. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember it being a major topic that was talked about in some of my history classes when I was an undergraduate, which would have been like 2010. But
I don't think we've come a long way on cyber law. I feel like we're trying to put out all these brush fires, and meanwhile there's like a whole like city that is been engulfed in flames that we'll deal with that later.
Well, I mean, I've heard way too many stories about people in 80s, 90s who did not think that this was going to be as big as it was. Like, especially when I'm in school and I'm learning about like the history of like newspapers as far as like online and stuff. Like it really only got serious until, I'm sorry, I can't talk. It didn't get serious until like after 9/11, which seems way far behind because it was out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just nobody took it seriously. I don't know.
If we just
thought it was going to blow over.
If we pay the TSA enough, we don't have to go through their thing. That's all I know.
Not.
What is that all about?
I don't know. What do you mean?
So, have you flown a lot?
Yeah, I have.
So if you fly, you know, I have to go I get frisked all the time now. Like the last 2 times I've flown, I got frisked there and back both ways, like everything. And I'm just like, and I'd never been frisked before, but you can pay extra to not have to deal with that shit.
I had no clue.
So it's like, is that when I'm allowed to take drugs and shit? Like there's a little loophole in the TSA where you're like, you get like fast track through if you pay like $80 a year or some shit like that. Yeah. It's great. It's a wonderful hole in this but that is something that's like that level of security has only come about since 9/11. That's kind of what made me think about that. So.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean, I had no clue. You know, I would think that there would be, you know, no option. It doesn't matter who you are. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you're in some kind of emergency, you know, like, I don't know, like you're, you know, a president, vice president or whatever, and you have to, you know, you take private plane or something, like that's how you avoid that. But like, I don't know. I didn't know that you could do that. That's crazy. Yeah. You learn something new every day.
Yeah. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
That. Well, I said let's just go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay.
It's been a super productive conversation.
Alrighty.
I've been like Reader and I did 3 hours the other day.
Really?
Yeah, which takes like 8 hours to render the video.
Are you serious?
It takes so long. I'm getting a better computer for the new studio that is kind of designed to do faster. I was about cut my time in half on stuff like that. So of just having to wait. So that's kind of there's a definite lag time of not having an editing lackey. I need an editing lackey to run that side of my podcast. Like, hey, here's the thing. Put it on there. Write the text. See you later.
Yeah.
Eventually. That's like I tell Cora all the time. I'm like, you used to not get paid shit for martial arts. You used to not get paid shit for history. Don't get paid shit to podcast, but I'm on the same model. So
looking you go.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, thanks so much, Hannah.
Thank you for having me on.
Maybe we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
If you ever have anything you want to come talk about, let me know. Or if you ever have, like, I know you've reached out to me a couple of times, hit me up anytime.
Sure.
So, all right.
Thanks.
Cool. All right.